So good morning everyone. I am continuing the design engineering which we have discussed in previous video, and here I am going to discuss about component design elements. So in component level design elements, here the software design for a software really describes about internal detail of each software component. If you are building some component, it will describe about the internal components of that particular software. So it defines the data structures of for the all local objects, the algorithm in details, how the components will occur. And here you can take the example of a sensor management. In sensor management, we will have the component sensors, and here the software component will be sensor of the sensor management. The processing of that will be explained in detail. So this is about component level designs. Next, deployment design elements. This is deployment design elements. Here this design elements indicates how software functionality and subsystems will be allocated within the physical computing environment. So you'll have a system where entire security system will be placed. Not only about the security system, but how the subsystems are present there, and how the subsystems are connected to the control panel, and also the server will be explained in this deployment design elements. Now here we will discuss about next topic, that is creating an architecture design. Now, software architecture. What is this architecture? As I said, you in design we will do the design using different design models. We will design a software system which will be implemented in the form of a product. Here in the software architecture of a program or computing system, is the structure or the structures of the system which comprise software components. Means it will bring all the software components, the externally visible properties of those components and the relationship between among them. Means you will structure a architecture where all the components will be placed, and the uh, what is the external visible properties of the components and what is the relationship between the components will also explain in this software architecture. It is a representation that enables a software engineer to what it will do for a software engineer. It will analyze the effectiveness of the design in meeting its stated requirements, whether all the requirements are present in the design. By seeing the external structure, it will be visible that whether all the requirements are effectively placed in that design, and consider the architectural alternatives of the stage when making design changes is still relatively easy. So it will be easy to do. If you want to do any changes to the architecture, it will be very easy to do by seeing the design and reducing the risk. So when you have any problem in the design, immediately you can go there and you can do the changes by seeing the architecture. So it will risk associated with the construction of a software will be reduced by this architecture, software architecture. Now, why is architecture important? See, representation of software architecture enables communication between all stakeholders interested in the development of computer-based system. If you want to develop a system, then it will for all the stakeholders like users, maybe software engineers, software programmers, like managers, management, anything. This all comes under stakeholders. So it will be easy for them, or it will be easy for them to develop the computer-based system by seeing the software architecture. So now next, the architecture highlights early design decisions that will be a profound impact on the software engineering work that follows and on the ultimate success of a system. So if you want to do any changes, if you want to do any design decisions, if you want to highlight any architecture part, then it will be easy if you have a software architecture, and it will be a ultimate success for a system also if you have a good architecture. So architecture constitutes a relatively small intellectually graspable model of how the system is structured and how its components work together. So here entire architecture explains how the system is connected to each other, how it works, how the all the components in the system are placed, and how they are work together. This entire thing will be explained by seeing the architecture. Same as if you have a building architecture, by seeing the architecture you can find out the where how the building is constructed, what are the how many rooms are present in the building, and how it is has been made a shape of. So by seeing the architecture, same way here also, by seeing the architecture you will know the structure of the software, components placed in the software, how these components are worked together in the software will be mentioned by software architecture. Now data design. So data design creates a model of data or information that is represented at high level data of abstraction. So when you go for high level data abstraction, then you'll use this data design in order to create the data or the information. So this data model is refined into progressively more implementation specific representations that can be processed by the computer based system. So if you want to implement specific representations with how the processing of a system is going on, computer based system, then this data model is required. So data design at architectural level. Today, business, large, small, all are in a data, aversion data. As without data, you can't do any business. The challenge is to extract useful information desired. The desired useful information will help others to work on it. To solve this, we have data mining techniques also called as knowledge discovery in database. So we have different types of data mining techniques, knowledge discovery databases in order to solve these data issues. A data warehouse is a separate data environment that encompasses all the data used by the business. So this is about data design at architecture level. Now, data design at the component level. So when it comes from component, the data, whatever the data design is still at component level, focuses on the representation of the data structure that is directly accessed to one or more components. So by seeing the data structure, using the data structure, we are associated to the different software components. So set of principles that may be used to specify the data design at component level. Here we have set of principles. So these principles are: first one, systematic analysis principles apply to function and behavior should also apply to the data. Means you, by after collecting the data, how the functionality, how the analysis principles, this entire thing should be applied to the data. A data dictionary should be established by both the data and the program. So you should maintain a dictionary where this data and program design should be maintained. Low level data design decision should be defined until late in the design process. So we'll have low level data design decision. Then the representation of data structure should be known only to those modules that must make direct use of the data contained within the structure. So we should store the modules which we are using for the data within the structure, and a library useful of data structure is maintained with operations applied to be developed. And also a software design and the program language should support the specialization and realization of abstract data types. This is the structure we should maintain. First, we should have principles, then we should have this data dictionary, then data design, low-level data design, then all the data structure should be formed in the modules, then library of useful data is stored, then the software design and program language should be supported. Now, architectural styles and patterns. So, architectural style is a transformation that is imposed on the design of the entire system. In order to design entire system, we will use this architecture style. Each style contains what architecture style contains. It will have components, yes, we'll have connectors, constraints, and semantic models. So different components, whatever you are using, what are the connectors used to connect the components, what are the constraints you are using, and semantic models, various semantic models you are using in order to build an architecture style. Now, this is the brief taxonomy of architecture style. This is data center architecture. If you are building data center architecture, how the data center architecture is built. Here data store repository where the entire data is stored, and it is connected with client software, client software. So how this client software, different client softwares from different companies, how they are connected to this data store repository. So this is data center architecture, from where all the clients will be collect the data from this data store repository. So means the data flow architecture, how the data will be flow. So you have pipes and filters. So using pipes, the filters are connected, and these pipes are used to travel of the data from one filter to the other filter. So pipes and filters, and next one is batch sequential, where the data is sequentially sent. Okay. Now this is about data flow architecture, how the data is flowed between pipes and the filters. Now, see, this architecture is applied when the data is to be transferred to the series of computational different manipulate components into the output data. If you want computational or manipulate components into output data, we will use this architecture. You have a set of components called filters. All the components which are placed there are called as filters, and these filters are connected by the pipes. So these pipes, what is the work of pipes? In order to transfer the data from one component to the other, one place to the other, one filter to other. So one filter will work without knowing the work of the other filter. So the one component will not know what the other component is doing. Just the flow of the data will be set between these to transmit the data. And in order to transmit the data, we are using pipes here. Next, the batch sequential structure accepts a batch of data and then applies a series of sequential components to transfer it. So here you have a series of components in batch sequential way to transfer the data. So that is it. Now filter is component. Pipes are used to transmit the data between the components, and one component will not know what the other component is doing. So that is the data flow architecture. Now call and return architecture. See, this style enables a system designer to achieve a program structure that is relatively easy to modify or scale. So when you are designing it, it is easy to modify or scale. The architecture will be done using this style, substyles. So substyles means main program or subprogram architecture, remote procedural call architecture. What is this main program or subprogram architecture? When you are having a program structure, that program structure decomposes function into control hierarchy. So then it is called main program or subprogram. Next, remote procedural call means the components of main or subprogram architecture are distributed across multiple networks. Then this is called as multiple computer on a network. This is called remote procedural call architecture. Next one is object-oriented architecture. So the what happens in object-oriented, as the name in here, the components of a system encapsulate data and means bring the data together and operations that must be multiplied to manipulate the data are used. And communication and coordination between components is accomplished via message parsing. So from one component to other component, the communication or coordination will be done using the message passing in this object-oriented architecture. Now, see, you can see main program and controller subprograms, and controller subprograms again have application subprograms, and application subprograms again will have application subprograms. So this is the division of the data. So main program, subprogram, and application subprogram. Now, layered architecture. You can see, as the name indicates, you have different layers in this layered architecture. Core layer, utility layer, application layer, and user interface layer. Each layer will have components. Each layer consists of the components. So core, first one, second utility, application, and user interface layer. Now, at outer layer, component services user interface operations is. First outer layer is user interface operations. Next, at inner layer, component perform operating system interfaces. Inner layers, operating system interfaces will be performed. The intermediate layer, utility services and application software functions will be performed. So outer layer component service user interface operations will be performed. At inner layer, component perform operating system interfaces. Next, at intermediate layer, utility services and application software functions will be performed. So next, architectural patterns. Here, concurrency, persistence, distribution. These three are the architectural patterns. Now, first, concurrency. See, here in concurrency, application should handle multiple tasks so that can simulate parallelism, parallelly, one by one. So, first, operating system process management pattern. Next, task scheduler. You can see these both are the example of concurrency. Multiple tasks should be run at a time so that parallelly the programs can be run. So examples are operating system process management and task scheduler is concurrency. Next comes persistence. Data persistence, if it survives past the execution of the process that created it. Two patterns are common. First one is database management, where the data is stored, and application level persistence. Data persistence means storage of the data, process data created, and here we will use two patterns. Next one, distribution. The manner in which systems or components within the systems communicate with one another is in a distributed environment. So here the components will be distributed and they will communicate with one another in a distributed environment. We have different components. So they are distributed within each other in this distributed environment. So these are the architectural patterns. Next we are going to discuss about organization and refinement. So control. How is control managed within the architecture? How do component transfer control within the system? What is control topology? This all will be done by the control. So how it is managed, how that component transfer is done, how the topology is controls. Data, how it is communicated between the components, then what is the mode of the transfer you are using, then how the functional components interact with one another. Here, data components. This is about data. Next, architectural design. So you can see the architectural design representing the system with context. Here you can see target system, This is architectural design of safe home product, where in order to secure your home, you are using the sensors, internet-based systems in order to control the sensors, surveillance function, and in order to set all this, you'll use control panel, and you will have homeowner who will use this target system. So representing the system with context, you can see in the diagram target system, which is the security function, and this system is connected to the sensors. You will have peers, that is surveillance functions, and you have an interbase system which is used by the target system, and you have a safe product which is used by the target system, and you'll have a control panel where the target system is controlled, and you'll have a homeowner who will controlling this entire security function. This is the security function of safe home. So that is about the representing the system with context. Now, the context diagram should design the external entities of the software interest of the nature of the interaction, how the interaction between the home house owner, control panel, and the safe home product sensors is taken, is explained in this context diagram. Now, here system that interoperate with target system as the follows. How it is interoperating with the target system. First, superordinate system. These systems use target system as part of high-level processing schemes. So superordinate systems will use target system as high-level processing scheme. Next, subordinate systems means used by target system which provide data to complete target system functionalities. Only functionalities are completed by subordinate system. Peer level systems means information is either produced or consumed by the peers and the target program. So peers just produce the information. Actors, this interact with the target system by producing or consuming interaction necessary, which is necessary for the system. Target system, the system for the which the architecture to be developed. So that is the target system to which the architecture will be developed. So, and defining archetypes, you can see controller, node, detector, indicator. So detector, indicator. So controller communicates with itself. So you have node, and again you have detector and indicator. This is the relationship for the safe home security system. Previously we have seen safe home system. That same, it is expressed in the UML relationships. So detector, indicator, node, and controller. So next, archetype is a class or a pattern that represent a core abstraction that is critical to design of an architecture. So if you want to define any object, data object, so in order to that which is critical to design of an architecture, then it will be explained by the archetype. Archetype of safe home product, we have already seen node, detector, indicator, collector. Node, cohesive collection of input and output elements. You can see previously already we have discussed here cohesion means only small interaction will be there between the one component to the other component, which is cohesion, and here node is a cohesion collection. Next, detector, all sensing equipment that feeds information into target system, which will give information to the target system, that is called detector. Indicator, it represents all the mechanisms which we should do with the target system. Collector, that depict the mechanism that allows arming and disarming of a node. So whether the node is arming or disarming will be explained by the collector. These are the 4 archetypes of safe home product. Now, defining architecture into components. Again, you can see this is component based diagram or UML based diagram, where each and every component is given for a safe home system. You can see safe home executive, next function selection, external communication management, GUI, graphical user interface, internet interface, and here you can see security, surveillance, home management. Again, security, surveillance, home management, this control panel processing, detector management, and alarm processing is indicated to security. Now, software architecture is defined into components, and there are 3 domains for choosing the components. First one, application domain, infrastructure domain, and interface domain. Now, some of the components for safe home function are, you can see, external communication management, control panel processing, detector management, alarm processing. External communication management coordinates with external entities, whatever we are using for safe home. Control panel processing manage all the functionalities of the safe home system. Detector management coordinates and access the detector attached to the system. Alarm processing acts as an alarm conditions for the system. This is for safe home function. So application domain, entire programming is done. Infrastructure, what is the infrastructure required for the program? Interface, what is the interface you are using in order to connect the different components will be explained here, the 3 domains. Now you can see describing installations of a system. Again, it comes for safe home executive, where you have external communication management, and here you have GUI, internet interface, which is communicated with external communication management, security, which is added to safe home, and again this control panel processing, detector management, alarm processing is a secure arrow to security, then keypad processing, CP display functions for control panel, schedule and phone communicate schedule and sensor for detector management, phone communication alarm for alarm processing. This is the describing installations of a system. Now, assessing alternative architectural design. So an architecture trade-off analysis method, ATAM. So what it will do, collect scenarios, elicit requirements, constraints and development description, describe architectural styles you are using, evaluate all the quality attributes you are using, identify the sensitivity of quality attributes in various attributes of specific architecture, then predict candidate architecture using the sensitive analysis, conducting step 5, identifying again the sensitivity of the quality attribute. Now, architectural components. We have 3 types of dependencies: sharing dependency, flow dependency, and constrained dependency. So, sharing dependency means represent dependence relationship among the customers who use the same resource or producers who produce for same consumers. So, there is a relationship between the consumer and the producers. So, that is sharing dependency. Here, flow dependencies represent dependency relationship between the producer and the consumer of same resource. Same resource, producer and consumer will be having relationship between flow dependency. Constant dependency represent dependency between the producer and consumer of resources. Between the producer and consumer of resources means different resources. Okay, same consumer, same producer one. Next, consumer and producer of same resources, and next one, producer and consumer of different resources. Now, performing user interface design, UI design. User interface design, as I said, it is interface effective between human and computer. So this became identification of user tasks and environment requirements, user scenarios, and analyze to define a set of interface objects and actions here. This part also depend on customer requirements and domain of the system. Finally, interface acts as communicator between user and the computer. It acts as a communicator between user and the computer. So what are the golden rules here we are using? These rules are actually form set of user interface discipline design principles. So first, place the user in control, reduce the user's memory load, make the interface consistent. So by using user interface, we will have the following golden rules. We'll have user in control, it will reduce the memory load, make the interface consistent. So now place the user in control. How you will place the user in control? So what here you will do means interaction modes in a way that doesn't force a user into unnecessary and desired actions. If the actions are unnecessary or undesired, we won't ask the user to interact in that actions. Provide flexible interaction means choice will be given to the user. Allow user to interact the interruptibility and undoable things. So next, streamline interaction as skill levels advanced and allow the interaction to be customized in macros. High technical internals from the casual user. So designed for direct interaction with object that appear on the screen. You will have a direct interaction with the object which is appearing on the screen. So now reduce user memory load here. Reduce the demand on short-term memory means reduce the requirement to remember the past actions, whatever the past actions which have been done. In order to remember them, it will reduce the memory load for the user. Establish meaningful defaults means if you want to reset it, you can reset it. Define shortcuts that are sensitive. You will use some shortcuts in order to convenient for the user. The visual layout of the interface should be based on real world metaphor. So check register, checkbook, it should look like the real world. So disclose information in progressive fashion. If you want any important word, that should be underlined. So means it is easily understand the user that there is some important information given by the thing. So make the interface consistent. Here what you'll do, allow the user to put the current task into meaningful context, maintain consistency across a family of applications. If past interaction model have created user expectations, do not make changes unless there is compelling reason to do. If you want to do any changes, do not make any changes until the compelling reason to do so. Now, user interface analysis and design. You can see again in user interface analysis and design. Here, the overall process of analyzing and design user interface begin with the creation of different mode of system function. We'll have different modes of system function where user interface begins. Interface analysis and design models. So these models are used when a user interface is to be analyzed and designed. So we have user model, design model, mental model, implementation model. It is used by the user. Now, first user model. What is the work of user model? So establish a profile to the end users of a system for effective user interface. So the design of this model depends on the type of the customer you are using. So for convert into personals like name, age, occupation, domain, personality, context, work done or together, lease or work, platform, frequency. Now here users are classified into following types: novices, intermittent, and frequent. Novices means they doesn't have any knowledge of the system, little knowledge of the computer usage. Intermittent means reasonable knowledge of the system and necessary to user interface. Frequent means good semantic and systematic knowledge of the system will be there. These are the three types of the users. Novices who doesn't have any knowledge, next intermediate reasonable knowledge, next frequent means good knowledge. So these are the types of users. Now design model. In this design model, this incorporates the data architecture, interface and procedural representation of the system. So data architecture, interface and procedure represent of the system will be explained in the design model. Next, mental model. It just imagination of the system, what actually user think. What user think will be explained by the mental model. Implementation model means it combines the outward manifestation of the system coupled with all support outward manifestation coupled with all support information, the described system syntax and the semantics here. Implementation model. Finally, user uses effectively when mental model and implementation model coincides. Both mental and implementation coincide, then it will be effectively used by the user. The most important principle of user interface design and know the user, know the task. You should know the user and also what is the task assigned by the user. So here the process, the analysis and design process for user interface is represented with this spiral model. In this spiral model, you can see user, task and environment analysis, next interface design, next implementation, next interface validation. So this is the spiral model task. So there is a process which is going to take place in interface design. Now, interface analysis mainly focuses on user who will interact with the system. This contains mainly 4 framework activities. First, we have already seen user, task and environment, interface design, implementation and validation. Now, interface analysis. So understand the problem, which is important, find the design solution. Understand is nothing but understanding the following. First, the people who interact with the system through the interface. With interface, who are the people interacting, the task which is given to the user to perform, and the content that is present in the interface. And the environment in which this task will be conducted will be explained in this interface analysis. Now, user analysis. See, the mental image of the user can be satisfied by this user analysis. You have user interface, sales input, marketing input, support. User interface, you will have an interaction with the user. You will know what the user wanted and understand what are the needs of the user, and that will be understand to the software team. It is direct approach to the user by the software team. Next, sales input means we will meet the customer, we will gather the information which will help to the software to satisfy those requirements done by the salespeople. Marketing input means what is the marketing analysis for this in the definition of the market segment is given. The support system will meet users on the daily basis to know the information about what works and what don't. So what the user like and dislike, what features are used. So user interface means direct approach. Sales means we should now what is done by the salespeople will be explained here. Marketing means invaluable in the definition of market segment will be explained. Support system, meet users likes, dislikes, and what are the features easy to use. So next, task analysis and modeling. The goals of task analysis is to answer the following questions. What the work user perform in circumstances, what tasks and subtasks will be performed, what specific problem your domain objects will be used for manipulate as a work in the perform, what is the sequence of work task flows, and what is the hierarchy of the task. So next, These are the sum of techniques for analyzing the user interface. These are use case, task elaboration, object elaboration, workflow analysis, hierarchical representation. What happens in use case? These provide important tasks for a system and define basic interaction. What is the basic user interactions will be explained in this use case. Task elaborations means also called as decomposition or stepwise refinement. Here, refining the processing task assists understanding the human activities the user interface must accommodate it. So, user interface should understand what the human want to do, what are the tasks should be done, what is the processing task which is assisted to the human, and it should do that particular task that will be explained in this task elaboration. Object elaboration means you will have interface objects, you should identify that, you should elaborate the design, and each and every operations will be defined in this object elaboration. Next, workflow analysis means when number of different users are there, each play different roles. So make uses of user interface, then this workflow analysis is applied. Example, activity diagramming here. Next, hierarchical representation. Task hierarchy is nothing but stepwise elaboration. So this is about user interface design, and here analysis of display content. So what is the display content? What can the user customize the screen location of the content, and how the error message and the warnings is presented? An analysis of work environment, the physical characters of workplace, the type of equipment they are using, and the relationship between the other people, etc. So next, interface design steps. Here interface design steps is using information developed during interface analysis, define interaction objects and actions. So here you will take different objects and what is the interfaces, the interfaces of the objects, and what are the actions carried out by that objects will be explained in this interface design steps. First step. Next step, define events means user actions. What is the action and what is the cause of the state and model of this behavior. Next, each interface state it actually look to the end user, how it is look to the end user. Indicate how user interrupts the state of the system provided by through the interface. Will be explained in this interface design steps. Applying these steps, definition of objects and actions means nouns, objects, verbs, actions. So that is the thing. Elaboration are done iteratively. Source object, target object, and application objects are identified. In elaboration, what is the source, what is the target, what are the applications you are using between source and target will be explained. Next, user interface design patterns. So design pattern is an abstraction that prescribes a design solution. If you want any design solution, then it prescribes a design solution. So design issues, what are the various design issues we have? So response time, help facilities. So response time means some control action will be done until the software response with the desired output will not be given. So the response time by the user is mentioned. It is measured from point of which user perform the action, how the action is performed. The help facilities means interactive, like online help, blogs, etc., manuals, these all are help. Error handlings, if you got any error warnings or bad news delivered to the users when something wrong has gone wrong, this error activities or error message, error handling. The menu and commanding labeling, menu labels, mode of interaction and command oriented mode of interaction. This will be explained in this menu and command oriented thing. So application accessibility and computing applications is a big quest. So software engineers must ensure that interface design encompasses design that enables easy access for those with special needs. So as special needs, in order to access for them, you have application accessibility. Internationalization. The interface design are designed for one localate and then jury-rigged to work with other countries. So this is internationalization. Okay. So these are the design issues and design evaluation. You can see design evaluation. In design evaluation, we have a prototype where preliminary design is taken. From there, prototype 1 interface will be taken until prototype N. From prototype 1 starts, user evaluates the interface. Evaluation is studied by the designer. Then design modifications are made. Then it is built to the end prototype. So you are taking a preliminary design and you are choosing a prototype. And user evaluates that interface. Next evaluation will be done successfully by the designer, and it is design modifications are made. Next step, a prototype is built. So interface design will be complete by this design evaluation. So once the prototype is built, user evaluates. So evaluation is studied. Just now we have discussed about this. So with this, design engineering concept has been completed. So thank you.